Hello everyone, this is 16th lecture on Income Tax 2. In today's class, we are going to solve one case study covering different sections of exemptions on capital gains. And the case study is Shashikant of Bagalkot furnishes the following information for the previous year 2019-20. The year of purchase of capital asset is 2003 and 4. Cost of purchase is rupees 4,36,000. Sale proceeds on 16/8/2019 is 13,50,000. Commission on sales 6,000. And Shashikant purchased a new residential flat for rupees 2 lakh on 15/3/2020. And the cost inflation index for the previous year 2003-4 is 109, and for the previous year 2019-20 it is 289. For this information you are asked two questions. Question number 1 is computation of taxable capital gain for the assessment year 2021. If the long-term capital asset sold is residential building, if the long-term capital asset sold is jewellery, and if the long-term capital asset sold is listed debentures. And the second question is state the reasons for getting different taxable long-term capital gain for the above mentioned asset. Before we solve the sum, I request all of you to note it down. Once you note it down, it will be easier for you to solve and understand the solution. Here, Shashikant has purchased asset in year 2003-4 for rupees 4,36,000 and he has sold it in year 2019 for rupees 13,50,000. But you are not mentioned which asset has he sold. In question number 1, you are given 3 information, that is assume for the first time he has sold residential building and he has purchased a new residential flat. Second solution would be you have to assume that he has sold jewellery but purchased a new residential flat. And in third, you have to assume that he has sold listed debentures and purchased a new residential house. So, there are 3 different sales, or there are 3 different situations wherein in first situation he has sold residential building, second jewellery, third debentures, but after selling it, whatever gain that is received by the assessee, he has invested it in purchase of new residential house only. So you might have understood that this problem is based on exemption under section 54 and exemption under section 54F. Why section 54? Because in first situation he is selling residential building and he is purchasing a new residential building itself. So when the residential building is sold and in return when the new residential building is purchased, an assessee can claim exemption under section 54. In second situation, assessee has sold jewellery. Third situation, assessee has sold listed debentures, but in return he has purchased new residential flat. If any other asset is sold than residential building, and after receiving the capital gain, if the assessee makes investment in a residential house, in that case section 54F is applicable for exemptions on capital gain. So now let us start solving the sum. First we have to consider first information, that is he sold residential building but he purchased a new residential building itself. So all of you take down the solution. We take first full value of consideration. The first solution is if the long-term capital asset sold is residential building. So first we have to take full value of consideration. Full value of consideration is 13,50,000. This is given in the sum that the sale proceed is 13,50,000. From this we have to deduct selling expenses. In the sum you are given that he has paid commission. The amount of commission paid is rupees 6,000. Deduct 6,000. Now the balance remaining is 13,44,000. This is known as net consideration. From net consideration we deduct indexed cost of acquisition. Why we apply indexation for cost of acquisition? Because the cut-off holding period for residential building is 24 months and the assessee has held this building for more than 24 months, therefore it is a long-term capital asset. Whenever assessee transfers a long-term capital asset, we have to find out indexation of the cost of capital or cost of acquisition, taking into consideration the cost inflation index. So as it is a long-term capital asset, we have to find out the indexed cost of acquisition. Indexed cost of acquisition, how do we calculate it? It is cost of acquisition, that is 4,36,000 into cost inflation index for the year of transfer. We always transfer the asset in the previous year. So for previous year the cost inflation index is 289. We divide it by the CII, that is cost inflation index for the year of purchase. This asset is purchased in the year 2003-04 and the cost inflation index for that year is 109. Thus we get indexed cost of acquisition at rupees 11,56,000. Now 13,44,000 minus 11,56,000, we get answer 1,88,000, which is known as gross long-term capital gain. Gross long-term capital gain. Suppose in question you are given cost of improvement. In that case, for long-term capital asset, we also have to deduct indexed cost of improvement from net consideration. As you are not provided any information relating to cost of improvement, we are completely ignoring it. So the gross long-term capital gain is 1,88,000. From this gross long-term capital gain, we have to deduct now exemptions. Less exemption under section 54. Why exemption under section 54? Because the asset sold is residential building and the new asset that assessee is purchasing is also a residential building. That is the reason we can claim exemption under section 54. And what is the rule to claim exemption under section 54? The amount that can be claimed as exemption is either capital gain or cost of new building. cost of residential house. Whichever is less. Now the capital gain that we have calculated now is 1,88,000, and the cost of new house or new residential building given in the sum here is Shashikant purchased a new flat for rupees 2 lakh. So 1,88,000 or cost of new building 2 lakh, whichever is less. So now what amount can we claim as exemption? 1,88,000 or 2 lakh? It is 1,88,000 rupees can be claimed as exemption. Suppose you get here capital gain around rupees 3 lakh and the cost of new residential building is 2 lakh. In that case, we can claim exemption only up to 2 lakh rupees, because capital gain or cost of new building, whichever is less. Now our answer is nil, because 1,88,000 is exempted. This is known as taxable capital gain. I hope you have understood this sum. This sum is based on the exemption under section 54. Why exemption under section 54 is because assessee has sold a residential building and he has received a capital gain of rupees 1,88,000. Again he has invested this amount in purchase of new residential house itself. Therefore we have claimed deduction of 1,88,000. The taxable capital gain is nil. Now let us find out if the long term capital asset sold is jewellery. Same procedure. First we have to take full value of consideration. The full value of consideration is 13,50,000. From this we have to deduct selling expenses. The selling expenses are 6,000 rupees. Now the balance remaining is 13,44,000. This is known as net consideration. From this net consideration, we have to deduct indexed cost of acquisition less indexed cost of acquisition of jewellery. The amount remains the same because we find out the indexation of the jewellery. The cost of jewellery is 4,36,000 into cost inflation index for the previous year is 289. We divide it by cost inflation index for the year of purchase, that is 109. Again we get the same answer, that is 11,56,000. Now the balance remaining is 1,88,000. This 1,88,000 is known as gross long-term capital gain. From gross long-term capital gain, we deduct the exemptions. Now the exemption under section 54 is not applicable, but the exemption under section 54F is applicable. The reason why section 54F is applicable is because assessee has sold jewellery, but in return he is purchasing a residential house. So other than residential house, if other than residential house is transferred, and in return, if any other asset than the residential house is transferred and in return the residential house is purchased, in that case exemption under section 54F is applicable on capital gain. But the treatment is different here. Here we calculate exemption as cost of new house, that is 2 lakh rupees cost of new house into the capital gain. We got capital gain of 1,88,000. This is divided by net consideration. We have got net consideration amounting to rupees 13,44,000. Thus, we get amount 27,976. 27,976 is what? Exemption under section 54F. Now the balance remaining is 1,60,024. This is what is known as taxable capital gain. Taxable capital gain under second situation, that is if asset sold is jewellery and asset purchased is residential house. Coming to next one, if the long term capital asset sold is listed debentures. Here the procedure is same. First we take full value of consideration, then we deduct the selling expenses, we get net consideration. Up to net consideration, even this solution is same. So I am directly taking net consideration. But when you are solving it, take it stepwise, that is take first full value of consideration, then deduct selling expenses, then you get net consideration. Now the amount of net consideration that we are getting is 13,44,000. This net consideration remains same for all the three situations because we do not apply indexation before calculation of net consideration. That is the reason the answer is same. After we calculate net consideration, we deduct what? Cost of acquisition. And as in the previous classes you have learned that for debentures and any bonds, the indexation is not applicable even though the assets are long-term capital assets. So here for debentures, for bonds, even if the assets are long-term capital assets, no need to apply indexation or no need to take into consideration cost inflation index. We are directly deducting cost of acquisition from net consideration. Instead of debentures, if you are given shares, then we find index cost of acquisition. But for debentures as well as bonds, we do not apply indexation. Directly we have to deduct the cost of acquisition. And the cost of acquisition is 4,36,000. Now the balance is 9,08,000. This is known as gross long-term capital gain. From gross long-term capital gain, we deduct exemption. Under section 54F. Why again 54F? Because asset transferred is debentures, but the asset purchased is residential house. How do we calculate this exemption? That is cost of new house 2 lakh rupees into the capital gain. We have calculated now gross long term capital gain at 9,08,000. This we divided by the net consideration, which is 13,44,000. So now we get the answer, that is 2 lakh into 9,08,000 divided by 13,44,000. It is 1,35,119. 9,08,000 minus 1,35,119. The balance is 7,72,881. This is taxable capital gain. Taxable capital gain 7,72,881. Now the second question is, we have answered A, B, C from the first question, that is we have calculated long term capital gain if the asset sold is residential building, if it is a jewellery, if it is listed debentures. Now the second question is, state the reasons for getting different taxable long term capital gains for the above mentioned asset. What are the reasons that we have got different capital gains? That is, for first situation, when the long term capital asset sold is residential building, we have got taxable capital gain as nil. Taxable capital gain is 0 in first situation. Second case, if the long term capital asset sold is jewellery, the taxable capital gain is around 1,60,000. 1,60,024. And in third situation, the taxable capital gain is 7,72,881. You are now asked to explain the reasons why you have got 3 different answers for 3 different situations. So let us first explain for the first one. First situation, here we have got the answer nil because we have claimed deduction under section 54. Why we have claimed deduction under section 54 is because the asset transferred is residential building and the asset purchased is also a residential building. That is the reason we compute exemption as capital gain or cost of residential house, whichever is less. So capital gain is 1,88,000, wherein the cost of new house is 2 lakh. So 1,88,000 or 2 lakh, whichever is less. That is why we have claimed full exemption of rupees 1,88,000. We got the capital gain nil. But in second situation, up to gross long term capital gain, we have got the same answer. But when we are claiming exemption, we have claimed exemption under section 54F because the capital asset transferred or sold is jewellery, but the capital asset that is purchased newly is residential house. In this situation, when any other capital asset is transferred other than residential building, but a new residential building is purchased, we have to claim exemption under section 54F, and the formula is cost of acquisition of building into capital gain divided by net consideration. As we have adopted this formula for section 54F, our exemption is less compared to the previous situation. That is the reason we have got taxable capital gain of 1,60,024 rupees. In third situation, up to net consideration the amount is same as first and second situation, but in case of debentures we do not apply or implement indexed cost of acquisition, because for debentures and bonds there are no indexations. That is the reason we have deducted only cost of acquisition from net consideration. That is the reason we find gross long-term capital gain quite more compared to the previous situations. And when we are calculating exemption under section 54F is applicable because the debentures are transferred and the residential house is purchased. And the formula to calculate exemption under section 54F is 2 lakh, that is cost of new house, into capital gain divided by net consideration. Thus we arrive to the exemption answer at 1,35,119, and the taxable capital gain we got is 7,72,881. So due to these reasons, due to the different treatments that we give for exemptions under different sections, we have got 3 different answers for 3 different situations. I hope you have understood this sum. In next class, I am going to give you 2 case studies. I am just going to type the sum and just going to read it out. You have to try solving it at home. I am just going to give you some hints for those case studies, but you have to try solving it at home. I hope you have understood this question. This is a case study question. Just have a look how the question appears. That is, you are just given information relating to purchase and sale of a capital asset, but you are not mentioned which capital asset. And then you are told that a new residential flat is purchased for 2 lakh. You are given the indexations, that is cost inflation index, and this is how the question is asked for case study. That is, you are asked 2 questions. In first, you are asked to find out the capital gain for sale of residential building, then for sale of jewellery, then for sale of listed debentures. Then the second question is, state the reasons for getting different taxable long-term capital gain. Once you find out answer for the first question, you will be able to answer for the second, because you will understand where you are getting the differences in the answers. Only then you will be able to explain this point. So total here you are answering 4 questions. For this question you will get 4 marks. That is, when you compute long-term capital assets sold is residential building, when you give effect of exemption under section 54 and find the taxable gain, you get 4 marks for this. For jewellery you get 4 marks. For listed debentures you get 4 marks. Total are 12. And for stating the reasons you may get 3 marks. This is how for case study you are expected to answer, and this is how the marks allocation is done.